No Man's Sky's Titan Expedition tours a huge amount of the new content, so I've whacked together 14 tips for massively increasing your efficiency throughout, as well as solving most of the problems I've seen people having. Hazardous Materials is a super simple milestone. It's in phase 4 and requires you to get 256 crystallized helium. This new material is only found on gas giants, and it isn't used in anything you need to build for the expedition. The rewards of this milestone are also lithium and methane, 2 more newly added resources. These also are not required in the expedition. However, the starting planet is a gas giant, and the only raw source of ferrite dust you are likely to find are the small rocks scattered everywhere, and crystallized helium refines into ferrite dust. So whacking out this milestone right away on the first planet will give you a good source of ferrite dust while also clearing a milestone. Winds of Change require you to get caught in a tornado. It sounds madness, but don't be too concerned. The starting gas giant has these everywhere, so while getting your initial resources, be sure to jump into one. Just make sure you have full jetpack tanks and don't use them until you're about to land. Tornadoes are only dangerous when your jetpack is empty, so stay calm and use it in spurts. Storm crystals are usually a tedious thing to obtain on an expedition, but fortunately gas giants have them and are always storming, so just look for them when on the starting planet. They won't be as condensed in spawning as normal extreme weather planets, likely due to balancing the fact gas giants are perpetually storming, but it shouldn't take long if you look out for them while gathering everything else. Also note the expedition path will take you to another gas giant in Rendezvous 3, so don't worry if you have already progressed past the starting planet. The Rendezvous 2 system is the only system in the curated expedition path that has a water world. It is also the only uncharted system, meaning you can't teleport back to its station as it doesn't have one. Not only would I recommend putting a base computer down somewhere in that system, named Haporin, but also to sort your aquajets early, as while there is land on the water world, it's few and far between. Shooting asteroids for stone and fire will get you the aquajet's blueprint, as well as the crafting components plans. Completing Children of the Giants in the first system, where you visit every moon, will give you the opportunity to jump in the water to grab some crystal sulfide. Providing you grab 240 cobalt from a cave for making your magnetic resonators, you are largely set to build your aquajets without having to go back and forth. You'll need to build a nutrient ingester during this expedition. The only issue this has is the lubricant, but if you plan ahead it'll be super smooth. By gathering the storm crystals on the first planet, you can claim the rewards from Bottle Lightning and install the pre-packaged hazmat gauntlets. Then, while touring its moons for Children of Giants, you'll land on a radioactive world. While there, be sure to grab 400 gamma roots from the local wild gamma weed. Also be sure to check damaged machinery when you see it for some Fecium. You need 50 for the lubricant, but be sure to keep 1 for later to make the yeast for your bread when you complete field logistics. Of course, you also need the lubricant plan to craft it. This is included in the agricultural product plans rewarded by Divergent Evolution that requires 9 fauna scans. The moons of the first system have a combined 44 fauna to scan, so it's easily completed when touring them. Be sure to scan the underwater fauna there to also complete Teeming with Life early and efficiently. I had many newer players ask how they're supposed to get chromatic metal in the first system for making their warp cells, when there's no copper. Chromatic metal is refined from stellar metals in general, not just copper. As these new purple systems are their own stellar class, they have their own stellar metal, and that is quartzite. The activated quartzite on the starting planet is fantastic for chromatic metal, as it refines to it at a ratio of 1 to 4. So you can just grab a bunch from a deposit right in the beginning and have more than enough for the whole expedition after refining. All but the Rendezvous 4 system are either abandoned or uncharted systems, meaning you won't be able to buy technology upgrades. As the Titan expedition has you starting in a hauler with no upgrades past the Atlantic Drive, you won't have a big light year range. Fortunately, there's an easy to find system in range of the first where you can get an S-Class Hyperdrive upgrade. With this you won't need to mess around crafting endless warp cells due to the extra efficiency, and you'll be able to direct a warp to each Rendezvous system. When in the galactic map ready to warp from the starting system between the first system Scate and the Rendezvous 1 system, there's a system called Yalashi Ruange. It's between and a little below, 94 light years from Scate. This yellow system will sell you your S-Class Hyperdrive upgrade and make the rest of the warping a lot easier. Genetic currency requires you to get a 90,000 units or more from a single fauna scan. For this you need scanning system upgrades for your multi-tool. One S-Class scanning system upgrade with a fauna stat on it will generally be enough when scanning a rare type fauna, but you aren't guaranteed to get the fauna stat. That is unless you do a technique called stat rolling. First you need to get the S-Class scanning upgrade. There are 3 of these rewarded from different milestones. The easiest to get early is from teaming with life, so just scan 7 aquatic life forms when touring the moons on the first system. To roll it, make a restore point safe by getting in and out of your ship, then install the upgrade. If it has a fauna stat, then you are sorted, especially if it's 7000% or higher. If you don't, or it's lower than you'd like, as the max is 10,000%, then reload the restore point, package one of your technology modules and then put it back. This will forward the random seed that determines your next installed module stat. So install the scanning upgrade again and check. If it's still not to your liking, reload the restore point and package, then reinstall a technology module you have twice. Then try the scanning system again. Repeat until you have what you need. Alternatively, just potentially leave it till last. Installing the scanning system upgrade you are rewarded, as with 3 it's highly unlikely you won't get 1 fauna stat. Fathoms below has you looking for a sunken freighter. This one can cause grief as you are likely to look for it on the aquatic planet in Rendezvous 2, but you won't find it there. If you are having trouble, here are coordinates to one on the Rendezvous 4 planet Ramsey. If you don't like using coordinates, it would actually be quicker to scan for yourself. By Sky and Sea rewards a Nautilus platform. Combine that with the pre-packaged high-power sonar gained from under pressure, you can just scan for one and get the waypoint. Building a Colossus geobay for completing Wheels of Titan may have you looking for a lush to grab some paraffinium. Of course, the easiest way to deal with this is to know ahead of time and pick some up from a deposit when touring the moons in the first system. But if you're already past there, just pop into the Rendezvous 4 space station in the Hohakian system, as they sell paraffinium in the Galactic Trade Terminal. Plasmic Oceans have you fishing on a gas giant. A few people asked where to get the fishing rig for this, so I thought it worth a mention. The Phase 3 milestone under pressure rewards the plan for the fishing rig. This does mean that you won't be doing it on the first planet, but Rendezvous 3 is another gas giant, so just have it installed by then, as you'll likely complete under pressure in Rendezvous 2. At that point, the issue is finding water on the gas giant. It's not super common and hard to find stuff, just generally follow the terrain as it goes down, and you'll eventually find a small pool of liquid. If you can see bases, chances are there's one marking a fishing spot. You could also check the teleporter in the station for a base marking a pool. You'll see more bases on the teleporter than out in your ship. Quantum Bedrock requires you to have earned 7,200 or more nanites. Milestones that reward nanites will only give you 4,320, so you'll need to get some elsewhere. Fortunately, most of the upgrades and prepackaged technology rewarded from milestones are not at all required. So here's a list of all from the rewards that you don't actually need. With this you can safely sell these extras to both complete Quantum Bedrock and get the nanites for the S-Class Hyperdrive upgrade. Of course, many of these will be helpful, but none in this list are actually required for anything. Legacy needs you to rename a discovery, not just upload it. This milestone will get more tedious to complete as time goes on, but honestly, it's really not that bad. You can rename anything: flora, fauna, mineral, planet or system. So you can either do one final warp to a random place outside the expedition path, or even use the anomalous teleporter to go to a featured base, and warp randomly from there for a less travelled area of space. There will be many things to scan, just make sure you alter the original name in any way. Rename and upload without changing the name itself won't count. Each rendezvous has a Chronicle milestone with it. This will have you take a photo of the rendezvous planet in question. The only thing to note here is that you need to use the game's screenshot function, not the platforms. So for me, I need to left click in the quick menu screenshot screen to take the photo. If I use Ansel with an Alt F1, it won't count. For PlayStation, I believe you have 2 or 3 ways to take screenshots. Only one of them will actually work to count toward this. Every expedition that requires a screenshot often has people trying to figure out how to trigger it. The root cause is always this. So open the photo mode via the quick menu and use the keybind it says. That and that only should work. I hope these tips were helpful. Work on this step by step is already underway. I essentially make these tips once a route is half planned. I highly recommend the top video next for getting the most rewards out of expeditions. It's crazy how much you can actually get. If you have any questions that weren't answered in this video, please put them below and a viewer or myself will surely be able to help you.